Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Hawks Latest, your number one source for news, updates, rumors, opinions, and you guessed it, the latest and the greatest regarding the Atlanta Hawks. I'm your host, Zach Langley, aka Langley ATL, and today we've got a packed episode that's going to be filled with some roster moves, what's potentially on the horizon there, some long term strategy insights, and major trade ripple effects around the league, all involving your Atlanta Hawks, the latest and the greatest. So, we're going to be diving into Asa Newell officially putting pen to paper on his rookie contract, getting a deal done, and getting that out of the way. The front office's absolute masterclass during the draft night heist of the New Orleans Pelicans. Not the first time they've absolutely fleeced New Orleans, but also probably not the last. And how Atlanta, continues to find itself in the middle of what could be a historic seven-team trade, and what really to expect there moving forward as trades could be finalized in the next few days. And the continued belief from the front office in Kobe Bufkin, the guard that they drafted a few years back, hasn't really panned out so far because he hasn't really had much opportunity. We're going to talk about who the Hawks potentially, refuse to move in some multiple proposed deals regarding Kobe Bufkin. So buckle up, we've got a lot to cover. And we're going to start with some official housekeeping. So the Hawks actually signed rookie forward Asa Newell to his first NBA contract just earlier today. The team announced the signing, and although, as per usual, the terms of the agreement were not disclosed, that's very common for rookie contracts. We'll probably know the details in the coming days, but as of right now, we do not know. In the official press release, they did not include any contract information, but it's probably on the scale of 2 years, and then obviously the 2-year team option, and like every other rookie contract, similar to probably the one that, it would be more money, but like similar to the structure of the John Collins first NBA contract. So Newell, obviously the 6'11" forward out of Georgia, he made quite the impression in his lone collegiate season. You guys probably know a lot about Newell. We've talked about Newell a lot, but I'm excited for his rookie season, especially as a Georgia Bulldogs fan as well. So he started all 33 games for an SEC team, and was one of the best players in that conference last season. He put up 15 and a half points, 7 rebounds, a steal, and a block per game, all while shooting 54% from the floor and nearly 75% from the line. Displayed good efficiency. He was very efficient inside of the painted area. Those numbers helped him earn all SEC. He was SEC Freshman of the Week on several occasions, like 4 times. He tied the school record held by none other than Anthony Edwards, putting him in elite company. And this is someone who's a big part of Atlanta's core moving forward. His blend of athleticism, scoring touch, and defensive tools make him a high upside piece for this Hawks team, really moving forward in a transformative era. He's expected to get significant minutes in the summer league, and there's real buzz in the building about the potential pairing of Newell and Bufkin in the summer league. We're going to get to see a lot of their two-man game. It's going to be an exciting summer league, and it's starting very soon. But to truly understand why this moment, matters so much, and why Newell is such a critical addition, we've got to talk about some of the circumstances that really brought him to Atlanta, because it was something that it was planned for a little bit. The Hawks really liked Newell, and they really valued his contributions to Georgia, and expected him to obviously translate well in the NBA. He was one of their top targets at 13, and he ultimately fell to 23. And so that is going to lead us into what might go down as one of the greatest draft night deals in recent memory. And obviously it came at the expense of the New Orleans Pelicans. Who knows what they're doing with their franchise right now. So on June 25th, the Hawks had actually acquired Asa Newell's draft rights from the New Orleans Pelicans in exchange for Derek Queen, who was the number 13 overall pick, and this obviously went down before the pick was, selected. However, Queen put on the Hawks hat, Newell put on the Pelicans hat. They got to change that. Just off topic a little bit, I don't understand why they can't be like the NFL, and have the players put on the right draft hat if they're traded on draft night. So the number 13 pick, along with what turned out to be an unprotected 2026 first round pick, the more favorable of New Orleans or Milwaukee selection. So just an absolute masterclass of a trade. Really fleeced them. Getting their unprotected pick next year is absolutely ridiculous. At face value, it already looked like solid value for Atlanta, but behind the scenes, apparently it was a complete stunner. We're going to talk about a specific story that was told by someone who was close to it. So according to Shamit Dua of Substack, one league executive claimed their internal models that had that 2026 pick ranked with the second highest probability of becoming the number 1 overall pick next year. Let that sink in. That is incredibly valuable. Even if, this 2026 draft class is not as elite as everyone's making it out to be, which it is. There's 3 guys towards the top of that draft class that could go number 1, and that's not a situation of the draft where 2 years ago when there was Zaccharie Risacher, Alex Sarr, and maybe like a few others like Klingon, where there was no clear-cut number 1. These 3 guys, Cam Boozer, Darren Peterson, and AJ DeBansa, would go number 1 in any other draft. This is an absolutely loaded class, and the Hawks could get the number 1 pick, courtesy of the New Orleans Pelicans, or the Milwaukee Bucks, because it's the most favorable between the two. So the trade left executives around the NBA absolutely floored, and the Hawks front office knew it. So when senior VP Troy Weaver of the New Orleans Pelicans made the initial call to Bryson Graham in Atlanta, obviously the former Pelicans executive that came over to Atlanta as a part of the offseason front office changes, Graham reportedly asked for clarification multiple times. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. I mean, he was absolutely stunned. GM Anzi Saleh even called Joe Dumars personally to confirm the Pelicans are serious. I mean, they literally confirmed 3 different times, according to this reporter. They didn't believe that the Pelicans would actually be that, stupid, if you will, to do a trade like that. I mean, the Hawks were so stunned by what was on the table, they feared the Pelicans might come to a realization. I mean, wake up and pull the offer back. But they didn't, and that 2026 pick is now officially in the hands of the Atlanta Hawks. What resulted is now being called the worst draft trade in over a decade by multiple rival executives. I mean, no exaggeration. One exec even said, quote, "They should all be fired next year when that becomes a top 5 pick." And honestly, I couldn't agree more. I mean, the Pelicans front office, meanwhile, faced a wave of internal criticism and league-wide embarrassment. For the Hawks, this is kind of a franchise-altering moment. Not only did they walk away with Asa Newell, who's already looked like a great fit culturally and on the court, just really judging off of his tape at UGA, but they potentially picked up one of the most valuable future assets in the NBA draft. I mean, it's a trade that could set this team up for years. If Atlanta makes a real leap with their team this year and they're a top 4 seed in the East, which they very well should, given the offseason acquisitions, I mean, this is something that, if Atlanta then hits on that pick, which is in the top 5, we're talking dynasty. I mean, it's a trade that could set this team up for years or even land them a future All-Star. So this is something that's super cool and awesome that our front office is just making great moves like this. This is something we haven't ever really seen, but that's not the only headline surrounding Atlanta this week. According to reporting from The Athletic, the NBA's free agency madness may result in a historic 7-team trade. The Hawks are in the thick of it because, of course, we are. We got a super active front office. The mega deal actually centers around Houston Rockets' the agreed deal sending Kevin Durant to Houston, obviously from Phoenix, and to make the money and assets work. I mean, there's a lot of deals that have been finalized. However, when they're finalized, they are trying to put them all together to make the process a little easier. I mean, several teams are stepping in to facilitate, obviously including these pre-agreed upon deals. The Hawks, along with the Nets, Warriors, Lakers, Timberwolves, are all reportedly involved. On the Hawks end, it would include the sign and trade of Clint Capella to Houston. Now, when the Clint Capella signing to the Houston Rockets was first reported, we didn't necessarily know if it was going to be a sign and trade. However, Houston financially could not bring in Capella without it being a sign and trade, so it ultimately will be. It's a deal that's been rumored for days, but here's where things get a little bit interesting, because we know Capella is on his way out, but reports are actually suggesting that Daquan Ploden, the two-way player for Atlanta, one of the guys that's taking up their 3 two-way slots that are currently filled, is apparently also being included in this transaction. So, I mean, that sparked a flurry of speculation about what else Atlanta could be receiving in return. Could we be seeing Cam Whitmore come to Atlanta? I mean, that was initially rumored when we learned that Clint Capella was going to be a sign and trade to Houston. However, it was reported that the Hawks would just be receiving a second-round pick and some cash. Maybe now that Ploden's being involved and maybe some other assets as this deal continues to expand, maybe Cam Whitmore comes to Atlanta and gives them that backup 3 that they really kind of need. The deal isn't finalized yet, so it's still obviously fluid, and as we know, a lot can change in the matter of hours in the NBA that's currently having a super wild offseason. But keep an eye on this one. I mean, the scope and scale of this trade could shift multiple rosters if it really goes beyond just the initial agreed upon deals. I mean, if Atlanta plays this right, they could walk away with even more valuable assets as part of their long-term reshaping effort and really trying to jump into contention as early next year, judging off of these previous moves. So, and while the front office has been aggressive on some fronts, they've drawn a clear line in the sand when it comes to their guard, Kobe Bufkin. Grant Afseth is actually reporting that the Hawks turned down a trade proposal from the Sacramento Kings that would have brought in Malik Monk, the great six-man, underrated playmaker, great scorer from Sacramento, in exchange for Kobe Bufkin and Georges Niang. They declined that. I mean, this isn't the first time the Hawks have refused to move Bufkin. I mean, he was also held out of trade discussions a couple years ago for Pascal Siakam, who was a huge contributor in this year's NBA Finals. This tells you how highly this front office values his long-term potential as a two-way playmaker and a real foundational piece for the franchise. It's also notable that Niang, who was obviously included in the rumored Monk deal, ended up being a part of the Kristaps Porzingis trade that eventually materialized. So this was before the Porzingis deal, obviously, and however, I'm glad the deal didn't go through, and I'm glad the Hawks held on to Kobe Bufkin and Niang for the time being, because the KD deal would have never materialized if, obviously, we didn't have Niang, because it would have been more difficult to, send some salary out. So it's good that we didn't do this, because, I mean, the KP deal likely never happens without it, and now the Hawks have some real continuity at the center position. Kobe Bufkin will also be suiting up in Summer League. We actually did just recently learn that, and alongside, obviously, Hawks rookie Asa Newell, giving fans a real first look at this potential, duo of young guys moving forward. There's genuine excitement about what that pairing could become, and we're going to get our first look at it in Summer League alongside other guys that aren't confirmed to be playing, but like Kobe Bufkin and Eli John Nadaye and other guys that the Hawks have signed. I mean, Lamont Butler. So Summer League's going to be interesting, and it's very soon. So that's all for today's update on Hawks' latest. So from rookie signings and masterclass trades to some blockbuster negotiations and long-term player development, which Atlanta is really prioritizing, along with trying to propel into contention next year. The front office is cooking with gas right now, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss our next breakdown that we'll obviously be putting out tomorrow, because we're trying to get these videos out consistently to you. I mean, especially as the Summer League tips off and, more pieces begin to fall into place around the league. And in Atlanta, I'll be back with live coverage, reactions, and insights on every move the Hawks make. They have 3 open roster spots, so, I mean, continue to watch out for them, potentially signing a couple more guys in free agency, maybe bringing back a guy like Garrison Matthews. So for now, thank you guys for watching. I'm Zach Langley, a.k.a. Langley ATL, and I'll see you guys next time.